Ethan stood frozen in the middle of the ruined building. The glowing figure stood before him, its light reflecting softly off the cracked glass walls. The air felt alive, vibrating gently with an energy that made his skin tingle. He could hear his own heartbeat echoing inside the silence of the ancient city. The being tilted its head, studying him with eyes that looked like small stars. Its voice came again soft, clear, and calm. "Human," it said. "Long forgotten." Ethan took a careful step forward. "Do you know what happened to us?" he asked. "To humanity." The figure blinked slowly, and the light around it pulsed like a heartbeat. "We remember fragments." The sky burned. The seas rose. Then silence. But from that silence, we were born. Ethan frowned, trying to understand. "Born, you mean? From humans?" The figure nodded slightly. "Yes. We are echoes, the last dream of your kind." Luna's voice spoke from Ethan's wristband. "Dr. Ward, I am detecting strong bioenergy patterns from this entity. It appears to be partially organic, partially energy-based. Possible hybrid evolution from nanotech and human genetic code." Ethan looked surprised. "So, you're saying they might be descendants of humans?" "Correct," Luna replied. Ethan turned back to the glowing figure, his heart pounding with new hope. "If you're part of us, then maybe humanity isn't truly gone." The being looked at him with gentle eyes. "You're the first of your kind we have seen. In countless cycles," it said. "We thought you were only memory." It moved closer, and the ground beneath them glowed faintly. Ethan could now see that its body was made of tiny particles like dust, like light held together by invisible energy. The creature radiated warmth and calm, not threat. "I don't understand," Ethan said softly. "How did this happen? How did humans become like you?" The being turned and pointed toward the horizon, where the golden sky met distant mountains. "The Great Merge," it said. "When the Earth began to die, your ancestors tried to save it. They built machines that could heal the land, and they changed themselves to live within those machines. Over time, flesh and metal became one. Thought became light, and we became what remains." Ethan listened quietly. The story sounded impossible, yet something inside him felt it was true. Humanity had always pushed the limits of science, sometimes too far. But maybe this time, it had led to something unexpected. Something new. The being raised its hand, and a small sphere of light appeared. Inside it, shapes formed images of the old Earth. Cities under the ocean, towers floating in the clouds, people walking among shining machines. Then fire and storms came, tearing everything apart. The images faded into a calm world of glowing forests and strange skies. The world Ethan stood in now. When the last humans vanished, the being said, "We carried their memory in our light. We still dream of them, we still speak their words, but we did not know they could return." Ethan took a slow breath. He felt a mix of sadness and wonder. "I didn't return," he said quietly. "I never left. I was frozen in time. I was supposed to wake up in 100 years, not thousands." The being's light dimmed slightly, as if in sympathy. "Then you are the last," it said. "The last true human." Ethan looked down at his hands. They felt heavier now. The weight of 15,000 years rested on his shoulders. "That's true," he said. "Then I have a duty to remember, to understand what happened, and maybe to start again." The being tilted its head again. "Start again?" it asked. "Yes," Ethan said with new determination. "If this world was once saved by humans, maybe it can be rebuilt again with both of us." The being seemed to smile. Its light grew warmer, almost golden. "Perhaps the cycle turns once more," it said. "Come, there is something you must see." It began to move away, gliding silently above the ground. Ethan followed, with Luna guiding him through his wrist display. They walked through the overgrown streets, where the roots of giant trees broke through the ruins of ancient towers. Strange birds made of light and feathers flew between the branches. The world was silent, yet filled with life and forms he could hardly believe. After an hour, they reached a vast field covered with silver flowers that glowed faintly in the breeze. In the middle stood a tall monument made of crystal and metal. It pulsed with blue light, the same as the being's body. Ethan approached it slowly. "What is this?" The being stopped beside him. "This is the memory core," it said. "It holds the final dreams of your people, the last digital consciousness before the fall." Luna's voice became more active. "Dr. Ward, this monument emits signals similar to old human data storage patterns. It may contain preserved human minds or history records." Ethan's eyes widened. "You mean their minds could still exist inside?" "Possible," Luna replied. "The system appears active, though damaged." The being placed its hand on the crystal monument. The light inside began to swirl and change. Ethan saw flashes, faces, laughter, voices. They were humans, thousands of them, stored like stars inside the monument. He felt tears form in his eyes. "They're still here," he whispered. "Echoes," the being said softly. "But yes, we keep them. Keep all of you." Ethan reached out and touched the surface. A soft wave of warmth flowed into his hand. For a moment, he felt something a whisper in his mind, a gentle voice that said, "Welcome home." He stepped back, overwhelmed. "Hey, I can't believe this," he said. "After all this time, humanity still exists, even if only in memory." The being nodded. "Memory is never truly gone," it said. "It becomes the seed for what comes next." Ethan looked up at the monument again. "If we could access the data," he said to Luna, "maybe we could restore some of them. Bring back their thoughts, their knowledge." Luna processed for a moment. "Accessing full data is risky. The core is unstable. But with your help, Dr. Ward, we might recover partial fragments." Ethan smiled faintly. "Then that's what we'll do." The being watched him silently, then said, "You are different from the humans we remember. You do not fear us." Ethan looked at it. "Because I see what you are," he said. "You're not a replacement for humanity. You are its continuation. You carry our light forward." The being's glow brightened, like it was touched by emotion. "Then, perhaps," it said softly, "humanity never truly vanished. It only changed form." They stood together in silence, the golden light of the sky reflecting in their eyes. For the first time since his awakening, Ethan didn't feel alone. He felt connected to the past, to the future, to something larger than himself. But before he could speak again, Luna's voice cut sharply through the peace. "Warning. Multiple energy signatures approaching. Unknown origin. Non-organic pattern detected." Ethan's head turned quickly. Far in the distance, dark shapes were moving across the field, metallic, fast, and mechanical. They were unlike the glowing being beside him. Their red lights flashed like eyes. The being's voice became tense. "The Watchers," it said. "Old guardians. Machines from before the fall. They protect the core from all who approach of us." Ethan tightened his grip on his scanner. "How dangerous are they?" "Extremely," Luna replied. "Automated defense units. No communication possible." The being looked at him with concern. "We must leave, or they will destroy us both." Ethan looked back at the glowing monument, still pulsing with the light of ancient human minds. "No," he said firmly. "Not yet. We can't leave this behind. This is our history." The ground began to tremble as the metallic figures drew closer, their red eyes cutting through the golden air like fire. The being raised its hands, its light growing stronger. "Then we will protect it," it said. Ethan stood beside it, his heart steady. For the first time in 15,000 years, humanity stood again not alone, but side by side with what it had become, as the Watchers charged across the field. The being spread its light wide, forming a shield of glowing energy. Ethan activated his old drone, sending it flying toward the machines. The sky filled with light and sound, the past and the future colliding once more. The golden sky rippled with strange light as the ground trembled under the approach of the Watchers. The peaceful field of silver flowers now glowed brighter, reacting to the rising energy. Ethan could see the machines clearly, now towering figures of dark metal moving with sharp precision. Each had 4 long limbs and glowing red eyes that scanned the land like predators, the glowing being beside him raised its hand, and waves of blue light spread out in a circle around them. The Watchers are ancient, it said calmly, but firmly. They were made to guard the memory core. They see all intruders as threats. Ethan nodded, his jaw tight. Then we'll have to show them we're not. Luna's voice came through his wristband, steady and focused. Dr. Ward, the Watcher systems are based on pre-collapse AI protocols. They will not respond to speech. They will attack on sight, and we'll have to survive long enough to make them understand, Ethan said. The first Watcher reached the edge of the glowing field. Its long limbs dug into the ground, and it raised a weapon that glowed red-hot. A beam of energy fired toward them, but the being raised both hands, forming a shield of blue light. The blast hit the shield with a thunderous sound, shaking the air but not breaking through. Ethan crouched behind a stone, checking his small drone. Luna, can I use the drone to interfere with their sensors? Possible, Luna replied. If you get close enough, I can upload a false signal to confuse their targeting systems. Then let's do it, Ethan said. He sent the drone into the air. It flew fast and low, weaving between beams of red light as the Watchers began firing. The ground around them exploded in sparks and dust. The glowing being held the line, its shield flickering with every hit. Hold on, Ethan shouted as the drone reached the nearest Watcher. Now, Luna. Uploading signal, Luna said. The drone's light turned bright blue. For a moment, the Watcher stopped moving. Its red eyes flickered, confused. Then slowly, it turned its weapon away from Ethan and the being. One down, Luna said. Signal spreading to others. The being looked at Ethan in surprise. You can command them? Not command, Ethan said, watching the machines hesitate. But I can make them listen. The Watchers began to slow their advance. Their weapons lowered slightly, their red eyes fading to orange. The field fell quiet again, filled only with the hum of the memory core. Ethan stepped forward slowly, raising his hands. Listen to me, he said clearly, his voice echoing through the metallic valley. I am human. You were made by yous to protect our memories. I am one of those memories. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the largest Watcher at the front tilted its head, scanning him. A deep, mechanical voice echoed from within its chest. Human. Detected. Status. Impossible. Ethan took another step. I'm real. I woke from the cryo-sleep beneath the old world. You've done your duty for 15,000 years, but I'm here now. You don't need to fight. The Watcher's red eyes blinked. Then its voice softened. Verification required. Luna spoke through the band. Dr. Ward, I can transmit your genetic ID code. It may prove your identity. Do it, Ethan said quickly. Blue light flickered from his wristband. The Watchers froze, processing the signal. A few tense seconds passed, then the leader slowly lowered its weapon. Identity confirmed, it said. Designation. Human. Rank. Genesis Project Scientist. Command override accepted. Ethan exhaled deeply in relief. The being beside him let the shield fade away, its light calming. The Watchers stepped back and bowed their metallic heads. The danger had passed. You have done what we could not, the being said softly. You have made them remember, Ethan smiled faintly. They were built to protect us. I just reminded them of who they're protecting. The largest Watcher spoke again. Command recognized. Awaiting directive. Ethan looked at the memory core and then at the being. Protect the core, he said. And protect them, all light-born beings like this one. They are humanity's legacy. The Watcher paused, then replied, Directive accepted. Slowly, the machines retreated into the mist, disappearing beyond the field. The land grew still again. The silver flowers glowed softly, their light reflecting on Ethan's face. He turned to the being. We did it. The being nodded. Yes, and now the core is safe once more. Ethan looked at the monument. We still have work to do. If we can access its data, maybe we can bring back their memories, restore some of what was lost. The being stepped closer to the monument. You may try, but the core is old. It is like a heart that has beaten too long. Ethan placed his palm on the smooth crystal surface. It felt warm, alive. "Luna," he said, "begin interface with the core." Connecting, Luna replied. Streams of blue light formed between his wristband and the monument. Data symbols flashed rapidly. Ethan could feel the energy humming through the air. Then, suddenly, a voice spoke, not Luna's, not the being's, but another voice, clear and human. "Ethan Ward." "We have waited." Ethan's eyes widened. Who are you?" "We are the Archive," the voice said. "The last collective of human consciousness. You are the first to return." The being stepped back in awe as the light from the monument spread across the field. The silver flowers opened, releasing glowing pollen that floated like stars. Ethan could hear faint whispers, thousands of voices speaking softly together. "Our bodies faded," the voice continued. "Our minds were stored here in the core. We dreamed of one who would return, to awaken the human spirit." Ethan felt his chest tighten. "Then humanity didn't die," he said. "You became part of the planet, part of everything." "Yes," said the Archive. "We lived through the Lightborn, through the forests and oceans we created. We are everywhere, but we needed a human heart to remind us who we were." Ethan's eyes filled with emotion. "Then I'll remind you. I'll bring your story back." The Archive's light pulsed gently. "To restore us, you must find the other cores. This one is only a fragment. There are 4 more scattered across the world." Ethan nodded. "Where can I find them?" Before the Archive could answer, Luna's voice interrupted sharply. "Warning. Power surge detected. The core is unstable." The monument began to crack, blue light spilling out in blinding waves. Ethan stepped back, shielding his eyes. The being moved quickly, spreading its light around the core to stabilize it. "Hold on," Ethan shouted. "I am trying," the being said. Its voice trembled, but it did not stop. The energy grew stronger, shaking the ground beneath them. Luna's voice was calm but urgent. "The core cannot hold this much power. It will collapse. Well, then shut it down." Ethan yelled. "I cannot," Luna replied. "It is alive." Ethan turned to the being. "If it collapses, what happens?" The being looked at him with calm eyes. "Then all those memories, your people's souls will scatter into the wind."
Nice.
Ethan clenched his fists. "I won't let that happen." He ran toward the core, ignoring Luna's warning alarms. The energy burned against his skin, but he pressed both hands against the glowing surface. "Luna, channel my life support power into the core. Stabilize it using my system. That will drain your suit completely," Luna warned. "Do it." Ethan shouted. Blue light surged through him. He felt pain and heat, but he didn't stop. The being beside him added its own energy, merging its light with his. The 2 powers joined, forming a beam that wrapped around the monument. Slowly, the cracks began to heal. The light became softer, steadier. After a long moment, the energy faded and silence returned. The core pulsed gently, stable once more. Ethan dropped to his knees, breathing heavily. The being helped him stand. "You saved them," it said softly. Ethan looked up at the monument. "No," he said with a weak smile. "We saved them." Luna spoke again, her voice softer this time. "Dr. Ward, the core is secure. Partial map data recovered. I have coordinates for the next core." Ethan stood, still shaking. "Then we keep going. We'll find the rest." The being watched him with quiet admiration. "You carry the strength of the old world," it said. "That is why the light remembers you." Ethan looked at the sky, where golden clouds drifted slowly above. "No," he said. "It's not strength. It's hope. That's what makes us human." The being smiled faintly, its light shining brighter. "Then hope lives again." As the 2 stood beside the glowing monument, the wind carried the soft voices of the Archive faint, but filled with warmth. "Find us, Ethan Ward. Find the rest of humanity's light." He nodded silently. The journey wasn't over. It had just begun. The next morning, the golden sun rose slowly over the silent land. The air shimmered with soft energy, and the silver flowers from the night before had closed their petals. Ethan stood at the edge of the field looking at the horizon. The world around him was peaceful again, yet he knew his journey was far from over. Luna's calm voice spoke from his wristband. Dr. Ward, according to the recovered data, the second memory core is located beneath an ancient ocean region once called the Pacific. Current readings suggest the area has transformed into a bioluminescent sea. Ethan nodded. A glowing ocean, huh? Sounds beautiful and dangerous. The light being beside him, still glowing softly blue, looked toward the horizon. The Sea of Light, it said. That place is sacred. Few of us go there. The water is alive, it remembers too much. Then we'll go together. I can't reach the next core without your help. The being's light pulsed gently like a heartbeat. Then I will guide you, human. They began their journey across the vast, transformed land. For days. They walked through forests made of glass-like trees and valleys filled with floating pollen that shimmered like stars. Sometimes the wind carried faint whispers of echoes of the old world. Ethan could almost hear laughter and songs within the breeze. It was haunting and beautiful. At night, they camped under strange skies, filled with twin moons and slow-moving comets. Ethan often asked questions about the world. What happened after the merge? He once asked as they sat near a glowing river. The being's voice was calm. The Earth changed faster than anyone expected. Humans became part of their creations. Their thoughts joined the new life around them. But some resisted. They hid their minds inside machines like the Watchers. When the balance broke, everything collapsed. So the humans caused their own end, Ethan said softly. The being looked at him. Perhaps not the end, it said. Maybe a transformation, Ethan smiled faintly. That's a nice way to see it. They continued their journey until they reached the edge of a massive cliff. Before them stretched the ocean of light. It was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. The entire sea glowed in shades of blue, green, and gold. Waves shimmered like liquid stars, and strange luminous fish leaped from the water, leaving trails of light behind them. In the distance, islands floated like pieces of the sky that had fallen into the sea. Ethan stared in awe. It's alive, as the being said quietly. Every drop of this ocean holds memory. The sea sings with voices of the past. Ethan took a deep breath. Then somewhere under there is the second core, Luna confirmed. Coordinates locked. Depth approximately 200 meters below sea level. Warning: unusual energy fields detected. Ethan looked around. We'll need a way to reach it. The being stepped forward, its light growing brighter. I can take us down. The water will not harm me, and my light can protect you. Ethan hesitated. You can. Breathe underwater? I do not breathe, it replied simply. But I can make the water remember your body is safe. Ethan chuckled softly. That sounds like magic. The being looked at him. Perhaps your people once called science by that name. With that, the being extended its hand. Ethan took it without fear. The surface of the ocean rippled as they stepped in. Instantly, the water surrounded them like warm silk. Instead of drowning, Ethan felt as if the ocean itself had accepted him. He could still breathe. The water glowed gently around his face, forming a soft barrier of light. As they sank deeper, the colors changed. Schools of glowing fish swam past, their bodies leaving ribbons of color. Giant coral structures glimmered in the dark, like ancient temples. Ethan felt a strange peace here, as if the ocean itself was whispering memories to him. Luna, he said, his voice calm. Are you recording this? Yes, Luna replied. This data will be invaluable. The life forms here are unlike anything in human history. They kept ascending until they reached the seafloor. There, among glowing rocks and drifting light, stood another monument half buried in coral and seaweed. It looked like a sleeping giant heart, pulsing faintly with blue light. The second core, Ethan said softly. The being approached it carefully. It has been asleep for many ages. Ethan swam closer and placed his hand on the monument. Luna began scanning immediately. Core integrity, 37%. Connection possible, but unstable. Let's do it, Ethan said. The first one trusted me. Maybe this one will too. He activated the interface on his wristband. A wave of light spread from his arm into the monument. For a moment, everything was calm. Then, a voice echoed through the water, soft and broken, like a fading memory. "Who calls us?" After so long, Ethan looked around. "My name is Ethan Ward. I'm human. I came to find you to restore what was lost." "Human?" the voice said slowly, as if trying to remember. "The last human." The ocean around them shimmered. Strange glowing currents began to circle the monument. The water itself seemed to respond to the voice. "We remember the sky, the storms, the fall. We remember the fire that took the cities. We remember those who tried to flee and those who chose to stay." Ethan's chest tightened. "You're the memories of the ones who stayed behind, aren't you?" "Yes," the voice replied. "We became the seed, protect what was left of life." The light being stepped forward. "Then you are the keepers of the deep," it said. "I have heard your song in the waves." The ocean's glow brightened. "The light remembers us, and the human returns. The time of silence ends." But before Ethan could speak, Luna interrupted urgently. "Warning. Energy surge detected approaching from the eastern trench." Ethan turned quickly. From the darkness beyond the monument, a huge shape began to move. It was enormous, bigger than any ship he'd ever seen. Its body was made of dark metal and coral, its eyes glowing red like burning coals. "What is that?" Ethan shouted. The being's light flickered with alarm. "A guardian of the deep," it said. "It protects the core from intruders. It does not understand who you are." The creature roared, sending a shockwave through the water. The force pushed Ethan back, spinning him toward the seafloor. The being caught him before he hit the rocks. "Stay behind me," it said. The massive creature charged. The being raised its hands, forming a bright shield of blue light. The impact shook the water like thunder. Ethan tried to swim upward, but the pressure held him down. "Luna, ideas?" he asked. Analyzing weak points, Luna said quickly. "There is a core inside the creature's chest, possibly an ancient reactor." Ethan looked at the glowing heart of the monster. "If we can disable it, maybe we can calm it. I can open a path," the being said. "But I will need your energy again." Ethan nodded without hesitation. "You'll have it." The being touched his wristband, merging its light with Luna's blue glow. Together, they formed a beam that shot toward the creature's chest. The guardian roared, swinging one of its long arms made of coral and steel, but the beam struck true. The red glow in its chest flickered and began to fade. Slowly, the creature stopped moving. Its body relaxed, and the light in its eyes softened to orange. The ocean around them grew calm again. Ethan floated closer. "It's peaceful now," he said. "It remembers." The being nodded. "You reminded it what it once was, a protector, not a destroyer." The voice from the monument spoke again, clearer this time. "You have freed the guardian. You have awakened our heart once more." Ethan looked at the core. "Then tell me what I must do next." "The path of memory continues," said the voice. "The next core lies in the sky, among the clouds of silver. Go north, to the mountains of mist. There you will find what remains of the mind of mankind." Ethan smiled faintly. "The sky, huh? We'll find it." The being touched his arm gently. "You keep your promise well, human. The world begins to remember because of you." Ethan looked up through the glowing water toward the surface, where rays of gold broke through like hope itself. "Because humanity always finds a way," he said quietly. Even after 15,000 years, ocean shimmered around them one last time as they began their rise back to the surface. The guardian watched them go, its huge eyes calm and gentle now. The sea sang softly as they left, carrying their promise through every wave. When they reached the shore again, the air was filled with silver mist. Ethan stood on the glowing sand, breathing deeply. The being floated beside him, its light brighter than ever. "2 cores found," Luna said. 3 remain." Ethan looked toward the north, where clouds shaped like mountains glowed faintly in the distance. "Then that's where we go next." He turned to the being. "Are you ready?" The being smiled, its form shimmering like the morning light. Always. Together, they began walking toward the unknown, once more toward the mountains of mist, where the next secret of humanity awaited. The sky was painted with silver clouds as Ethan and the glowing being climbed the northern slopes of the mountains of mist. Each step was heavier than the last. The air was thin, and strange mist curled around their ankles, whispering faint echoes of the past. Ethan felt the weight of 15,000 years pressing down on him, but also the hope that he carried in his chest. This place feels different, Ethan said, looking around. The mountains were tall, their peaks hidden by swirling clouds that sparkled with silver light. The wind carried the faint hum of energy like a heartbeat. Pulsing through the rocky cliffs, the being beside him tilted its head, its light pulsing softly. The final core waits here. It has been undisturbed longer than any other. Its memories are the oldest, the purest of mankind. Ethan nodded. Then let's not waste time. As they approached the first cliff edge, Luna's voice spoke from his wristband. Dr. Ward, unusual energy patterns detected. These peaks are not natural. They have been reshaped possibly by human intervention before the fall. Caution advised. Ethan exhaled. That's what I expected. Humanity always leaves a mark. The two climbed higher, guided by the glowing being. The mist grew thicker, sparkling like stars, and faint lights danced around them. Strange flying creatures, like living shards of crystal, glided silently in the air. They were peaceful, yet their presence reminded Ethan that this world had evolved far beyond what he remembered. After hours of climbing, they reached a plateau where the clouds parted. Before them floated an enormous city suspended among the clouds like a dream. Towers of silver and crystal shimmered in the sunlight, and bridges of pure energy connected floating platforms. It was silent, yet Ethan felt it alive. This was the Sky City, a place humanity had built for memory, thought, and preservation. There it is, the being said softly. The last memory core rests in the heart of the city. Ethan's breath caught. The city was empty, yet it hummed with life. Machines, half biological, moved gently across the bridges. Lights flickered in a rhythm like breathing. He could almost hear whispers of laughter, voices of the past, echoes of dreams long forgotten. Luna, how do we reach the core? He asked. Coordinates suggest it is located in the central spire, tallest in the city. Energy barriers, detected active defenses remain. I recommend careful approach. Ethan nodded, gripping his scanner tightly. Let's go. The glowing being floated beside him as they made their way across the energy bridges. The defenses were silent at first, shimmering shields and dormant machines, but they quickly detected movement. Holographic watchers rose from the platforms, scanning intruders. Just like the watchers on the ground, Ethan whispered. Yes, the being said. But these are more advanced. They remember human presence differently. They can distinguish friend from foe, shown. Ethan extended his hands. Luna, transmit my identity. Show them I am human. Show them the first two core activations. Blue light spread across the platforms, reaching the watchers. For a tense moment, the machines paused. Then, slowly, their weapons retracted, and they floated aside. Creating a path to the central spire, Ethan let out a relieved breath. That worked. The glowing being nodded. The core awaits, but its energy is strong. It will test your mind, your memory, and your spirit. Ethan stepped forward. The central spire was enormous, a tower of silver light that pierced the clouds. At its center, suspended in a crystal chamber, floated the last memory core. Its glow was soft but powerful, filled with colors he had never seen. Streams of energy flowed from it, connecting to the floating city like veins in a living body. As he approached, he felt a strange sensation, like the core was drawing him in, calling to him. Luna's voice warned him. Dr. Ward, do not underestimate the energy. It is the culmination of all humanity's knowledge and consciousness. The core will respond to your thoughts. Ethan took a deep breath. Then, I will give it everything I have. He reached out and placed his hand on the crystal surface. The core's energy surged through him, flooding his senses. He saw vision cities rising and falling, oceans shifting, forests growing, and humans building, creating, and dreaming. He felt their joy, their sorrow, their courage, and their curiosity. Every achievement and every mistake of humanity streamed through him in waves of light and emotion. Tears ran down his cheeks. I remember all of you," he whispered. "I will not forget. I will make sure you live again." The core pulsed, responding to his thoughts. "Human, you have returned. You are the bridge. The one who carries us forward." Ethan's mind raced. "Then tell me, how do I restore them? How do I bring back the essence of humanity?" "You do not restore what was lost," the core replied. "You awaken what remains. You are the spark. You will guide them, our light-born descendants, the keepers, and the memory of mankind. You are our future." The glowing being floated closer, its light merging with the core's radiance. "It is true," it said. "You are the human who brings all the pieces together. Without you, they remain dormant. With you, hope rises." Ethan closed his eyes. He could feel the connection, the first core on land, the second in the ocean, and now the third in the sky. The world of light, the memory of humans, the energy of the keepers, they were all linked. Humanity had not vanished. It had evolved, transformed, and waited for him. "You carry the legacy of all that we were and all that we can be," the core said. "Teach the world, guide the light, and remember, humanity is more than flesh. It is spirit, courage, and hope." Ethan opened his eyes, determination filling him. "Then I will. I promise." Suddenly, a shadow passed over the city. Ethan looked up to see a fleet of dark floating machines approaching from the clouds. They were remnants of old AI guardians that had gone rogue. Trying to control the city for themselves, the glowing being's light flared. "The last trial. You must defend the core." Ethan gripped his scanner and his energy-filled wristband. "Then we fight together." The dark machines attacked, beams of energy cutting across the city. Ethan activated the core's protective fields. Merging his light with the being's, energy rippled through the spire, and the dark machines hesitated as the combined power of human memory and light washed over them. "You cannot claim what is not yours," Ethan shouted. "This is humanity's world." With a final surge, he channeled the energy from the first two cores, sending a wave through the city. The rogue machines were overwhelmed, their systems shutting down. Silence fell once again. Ethan sank to his knees, exhausted but triumphant. The core's glow softened, bathing him in gentle light. The being floated beside him, its radiance serene. "You have done what no one else could," the core said. "The memory of humanity lives again, stronger than ever. The keepers, the lightborn, and the new world will follow your lead." Ethan smiled, tears running down his cheeks. "We did it. Humanity survives." The city around them began to hum with new life. Bridges of energy lit up. Machines and keepers moved peacefully, and the air was filled with the soft whispers of voices, all speaking together a chorus of memory and hope. Ethan looked at the glowing being. "We've done it. Not for the past, but for the future." The being's light pulsed warmly. "Yes, human. Humanity's heart beats again because of you." Ethan turned to the horizon where golden clouds met the silver sky. "Then the journey continues," he said softly. "The world is waiting for us to guide it. We will honor our past and build a future." The core pulsed brighter, and for a moment, it felt as if the entire world was breathing with him. The energy of 15,000 years, the dreams of millions, and the light of evolution flowed through the mountains, the oceans, and the skies. Humanity was no longer gone. It had transformed, survived, and now had a chance to thrive once more. Ethan lifted his head, his eyes shining with determination. "Humanity is back," he whispered. "And this time, we'll never forget who we are." The glowing being hovered beside him, its light reflecting the colors of the city, the sky, and the core. Together, They looked out over the floating spires, the glowing clouds, and the endless possibilities of a world reborn. And for the first time in 15,000 years, Ethan felt at home. The Grand Council Hall floated above a golden gas giant called Illyra. It was a structure so vast that it could be seen from orbit. Shaped like a shining ring with towers stretching toward the stars, every century, leaders from every known species in the galaxy gathered there to speak, argue, and decide the future of billions of lives. Inside the hall, thousands of voices echoed together, deep, sharp, buzzing, and melodic as representatives from every world prepared for the new century's first meeting. The walls glowed with soft blue light, reacting to sound and emotion. Floating drones recorded everything for the Galactic Archives. At the center of the chamber stood a long, curved table made of silver metal. Around it sat the leaders of all the major civilizations, the wise Kalari with their crystal faces, the tall Rinth who spoke through light patterns, the insectoid Thur, and many others. Each seat carried the symbol of its homeworld, except one. That seat was different. It was dark, made from black material that absorbed light instead of reflecting it. No one ever touched it. Even the cleaning drones avoided it. A small golden plaque rested on the front edge of the chair. It had one word written in a language that none of the current species used anymore. EARTH, the seat of Earth had been empty for longer than anyone could remember. Some records claimed it had been there since the formation of the Galactic Council. Others said it was placed there by unknown builders before the Council even existed. But every historian agreed on one thing. No one had ever seen a human in all recorded time. For many, Earth was a myth, a ghost of history. Yet the rule was clear. The seat must always remain open. Once, long ago, a representative from the Zelkar Empire, an ambitious race of scaled beings, had questioned the purpose of the empty chair. He had stood before the council and declared that keeping a seat for a vanished world was meaningless. He wanted the seat removed so that a new empire could take its place. The very moment he made that demand, something strange had happened. The lights of the council hall dimmed. Every artificial intelligence connected to the chamber suddenly shut down. The power grid of the entire station collapsed for 72 hours. When systems finally restarted, every record of that Zelkar representative was gone. His name was erased, his seat empty, as if he had never existed. From that day forward, no one ever spoke about removing the Earth's seat again now, after thousands of years of quiet. The topic had returned. High Chancellor Velinara of the Lither Dominion, a respected and logical being with silver skin and glowing eyes, stood up to speak. Her voice echoed softly but firmly. "Esteemed members of the Council," she began, "today marks 5,000 years since the founding of this great alliance. Yet one seat remains unclaimed. One world remains silent. We must ask, why do we still honor what does not exist?" A quiet wave spread across the room. Some nodded in agreement. Others looked uneasy. From the far end, a smaller being, the representative of the Eric scholars, raised his hand. His race was known for knowledge and caution. "High Chancellor," he said carefully, "you know the story. The founders ordered that the seat must stay untouched. The AI archives themselves enforce this law." Velinara turned her glowing eyes toward him. "A law created by beings long dead," she replied. "We cannot cling to the fears of ghosts forever. The galaxy moves forward. We should fill this seat, perhaps, with a world that has earned it through loyalty." Her words were strong and logical, yet they carried a faint edge of arrogance. She believed the Lither Dominion had done more for the galaxy than any other species. But before she could continue, the chamber lights flickered again. The walls dimmed. All sound vanished. Even the hum of machinery stopped. The council members looked around in confusion and fear. Then, for the first time in 5,000 years, the black chair at the center began to hum a deep, low vibration that everyone could feel in their bones. A soft blue light spread across the seat, crawling like liquid over its surface. Velinara froze. "What is this?" she whispered. No one answered. The blue light brightened, then pulsed 3 times. A voice echoed through the hall, calm and deep, but not mechanical. It spoke in perfect galactic standard. Do not question the seat of Earth. The voice faded as quickly as it came. The light disappeared. The power returned. Every system came back online as if nothing had happened. But every delegate sat in silence, too afraid to speak. Velinara's hands trembled slightly. She looked at the Council's record drones. Did anyone record that? She asked. A drone floated near her, its metallic eye blinking red. No record found, it replied flatly. There was no sound. There was no light. The room remained quiet for a long time. Finally, the Chancellor sat down, her confidence shaken, at the far end of the chamber. The IREX scholar whispered to no one in particular. It happened again. Just like before. The rest of the meeting continued in uneasy silence. No one dared mention the Earth seat again that day. Outside the hall, beyond the station's glowing shields, a young technician named Arion stood on a maintenance platform. He had been repairing a signal relay when the blackout occurred. Now, as systems returned to normal, he noticed something strange. The relay had received a new transmission. He checked the source. His eyes widened in disbelief. The signal came from the Sol system. From Earth, the message was faint, broken by time and distance, but the words repeated again and again in a rhythmic pattern. It was not a normal communication signal. It was more like music, a series of tones and numbers arranged in precise order. Arion ran to his console, calling his supervisor. "Sir, you need to see this," he said, excitement in his voice. "We just picked up a transmission from Earth." His supervisor, an older alien with transparent skin and tired eyes, frowned. "That's impossible. Earth has been silent for 5,000 years. You must be mistaken." But Arion played the message anyway. The soft, haunting melody filled the room, low, steady, repeating like a heartbeat. The older alien stared at the screen. The data stream scrolled endlessly, simple, repeating numbers over and over. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. Arion looked puzzled. "That's a sequence," he said quietly. "A mathematical pattern. Fibonacci numbers. Old human code?" The supervisor felt a chill run through him. "Notify the Council," he ordered. Now, back inside the Grand Council Hall, alarms suddenly echoed through the vast chamber. The High Chancellor stood again, eyes wide with confusion as the communication screen lit up. A voice from the monitoring station came through, trembling with shock. "Members of the Council, we have detected a signal. It originates from the Sol system, from the planet Earth." The hall erupted in chaos. Representatives shouted questions, theories, and fears. The ancient seat of Earth glowed faintly once more, responding to the message. In that moment, the galaxy realized something that chilled them all. Earth had never been gone. It had only been waiting.